All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of brisket and barbecue, bone stars and long. This is All In Sports, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. The Colts did not make the playoffs this year, so it's now time to track the offseason moves to set them up for a run at it next year. So welcome to our new weekly full Colts Corner episode. So let's go. All in Colts.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam. We're the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep. Last week, we gave you our thoughts on who should stay and who should go at the top of the organization. As of now, we know that all but one of those is continuing next year, as Jim Irsay quickly announced that Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen would continue as GM and head coach.
Yes, this leaves one announcement still to be expected in the way of defensive coordinator Gus Bradley. It was expected he could be on the chopping block after even last season. Given after the expected firing of Ballard didn't happen, it is it is tough to imagine that Bradley is not in any true danger. Just as a clarification, we are recording this prior to the Chris Ballard end of the year conference. So whatever happens after that, this will go live after that. So we cannot be held responsible for that. We might have a little special impromptu about that. We'll see.
Yes. But if the organization does want to respect some form of change and forward momentum, Bradley seems the likely scapegoat candidate. His defense has been a consistent issue as it is ranked toward the bottom of the league in points allowed, yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, and explosive plays given up. So basically every category.
All the major ones that really matter. The main one being points. You can't win games if you don't score the most points, and you can't score the most points if you're giving up the most amount of points. Mm-hmm. Bradley's contract is up, though, already. So the ultimate loyalists in the organization wouldn't even have to do much other than just not re-sign him and find someone else.
Yep. So now it's time for our annual season in rear view, where we take a look at the season as a whole and give our end of the season awards.
Yes, it was an up and down year again as the Colts started 0-2 before winning winning 4 of the next 5. Mm-hmm. The second game with Houston pretty much sealed the fate of the season with an interception before half, the AR tap out, and the 3-point loss to the division leader that now had the season sweep.
Yep. After that, the Colts lost 2 straight with Joe Flacco at the helm before AR squeaking out come from behind wins on the road against the struggling Jets and Patriots, with a home loss to the Lions in the middle of both those games.
Yep. Then came the beginning of the end in Denver and the nail in the coffin 2 weeks later against the Giants. So, With all of that recap now, what would your keys to the season be? We do keys to the game. What were your keys to the season?
Define keys this season. Like how do they win games?
What were some good and bad things overarching from the season from your take?
The benching on AR was overall a good decision. He played better after coming back. So did Bryce Young. So shout out to Bryce Young. Another thing, Josh Downs still performed well. JT seemed to get better as the season went on, as you pointed out last episode.
Yep.
Trying to think what else, because I don't want to spoil anything else I have for awards or anything.
Okay.
So I'd say that's all I'm gonna put out as of right now.
I'm gonna say the as we pointed out, the defense was the wave. Offense had its moments where it did not do great, but for the large part, the offense kind of bailed the defense out many times. Practically wise, tackling, foundations of tackling. And I don't understand why this is an issue with a professional football team that has training camp where you're supposed to be doing this and taking care of these things, so you don't have to worry about them during the season. During the season is not the time to reset your tackling techniques. That's what training camp is for. Now, if you ask me, I think there's a bigger NFL problem there, meaning NFL, you can't do that as much in training camp. You can't run the 2-a-days according to the new collective bargaining agreement. You can only have so many padded practices, all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that's no excuse, because guess what? All 32 teams abide by those same rules. So
and all the other teams seem tackling fine.
Right. That can be no excuse for that. I'm trying to think anything else. Puzzling play calls. Some great play calls, but more puzzling ones this year than the nice ones last year.
Yeah.
Regression there. Yeah. And then the I'm going to also say the puzzling personnel issues that when Juju Brents went down, nothing was done. There was never anything done, even though there were available free agents out there that could have been picked up to help the secondary, to help the tackling, whatever it might be. There was never a big move made, which doesn't surprise me because Ballard doesn't make big moves. It's just not his MO. And so what else would we expect during the rest of this offseason, which we may be playing a little game this offseason. So stay tuned for that. With that said, what is your Mayflower move of the season? Your game-defining move of the season.
Goodness, that light is really... Whew. I'm having a turn.
You wanna move?
Oh, wrong way.
Yeah, maybe that way, something like that.
It's a little bit better.
That's better.
I can see it now. Okay, it's
right.
better.
You do have a nice glow to you.
Thank you. 3 come to my mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna give 2 honorable mentions and then the one.
Okay.
First one happened early on in the season.
Okay.
Whenever Nick Cross hurt Josh Downs.
Oh.
May get into that in a little bit.
All right.
Number 2, AR getting benched. That's my second honorable mention.
Okay.
Because he performed so much better afterwards.
Yeah.
But it was the drop at the goal line.
Okay.
Momentum shifter. If we get the touchdown, we're up more points. It's such a what if question if he doesn't drop that. So I think that's and that was in the biggest game of the season for the AFC playoff picture at the time. A lot of things.
Yep. Agreed. I think that's a great one. I am going to go a bit earlier in the season, which we don't like to do, but in games, I'm going to say the interception before halftime in the second Houston game.
Gotcha.
The pick six, was it pick six or it was an interception?
It was an interception inside the red zone.
Yeah, but led to a touchdown.
It led to a touchdown right before half.
Because I think that's a microcosm of how the season all went down, because that was not a good play call at all in that moment. Not to go for it, but just the play call in that moment was not good, didn't set up for success. And then the decision, all of that. And, then, knowing that game led to the tap out, led to 9 of 30 or something like that. So to me, that is the play that led to all of the rest of it.
That
the
makes
benching.
sense. That
What
makes sense.
ended up with the Colts in the position that they were in Denver and needing that and all that.
Yeah.
All right. Time for some award times. Enough bad talk. Let's celebrate what was before we get into what may never be. The offensive rookie of the year.
Okay. I have a question before I answer this.
Okay.
Are we counting AR as a rookie, or is he sophomore now? Okay.
Nope.
If he still counted, it'd be AR. But
okay,
since we're not counting it, AD Mitchell did not do enough, even though he was the first offensive player that we drafted. I forget exactly where we drafted him, but I'm gonna go with Tanner Bortolini as my offensive rookie of the year.
I like that. I can't remember. I think there was like 2.
I think it's third, fourth round, something like that.
Fourth, something like that. Yeah. It was him and Gonzalez right back to back.
Yep.
I like that, and I honor that with this.
The gauntlet as they march it right down Pittsburgh's throat.
Love
I had to. I mean, maybe one last opportunity this season. There you go. You did it. I am going to do the other offensive lineman drafted right after Matt Gonzalez stepped in at left tackle for a little bit for Bernard Ryman, stepped in, I believe, at guard in a few instances when needed, and then also finished off the season for Braden Smith at right tackle. Left tackle, right tackle, and some guard.
All around.
I mean, what
kind of like Bortolini did too.
You say about that? Yeah. So well done from the defensive rookie of the year.
Is there anyone else to say?
Can there be?
Latu got it done. If he had as many snaps as Jared Verse did, he would be the defensive rookie of the year of the NFL.
Yep.
But he didn't get that many snap counts, so I'm going to give him defensive rookie of the Colts at least.
Yep. I agree. I could not agree more. I mean, help that I picked him way back when in the draft process. There may be more of that coming throughout this offseason. We'll tease again. But yeah, like as you mentioned, all of those things, like his pressure rate, his demand of a double team, and how offenses had to prepare for just the fact that he might be there, helped everyone else. So, all right. Most improved player for the Colts this year. This could be either side of the ball.
Anthony Richardson. I'm going to say he started out the season well. And yes, his completion percentage wasn't great, but the explosive plays kind of made up for that, in my opinion.
Okay.
I counted because the official NFL YouTube channel came out with a video, best plays from Anthony Richardson this season. I watched it like as soon as it came out. And I counted there was at least one deep ball completed, not to Pierce, just to someone, every single game that AR finished. So the Steelers game doesn't count because he didn't finish that game. But the first 3 games, Pierce had a big catch in all 3 of those. Yeah. First game, he had multiple. But Anthony Richardson able to last year, he wasn't able to take hits because he would get injured from them and such. This year, he took some pretty pretty hard hits, delivered some hard hits, still got up, fought back. There was a tap out, but that's one time. Before that, he was taking hits. After that, especially after the benching, he was, I wouldn't say lights out, but like played phenomenally. So I think he definitely deserves it.
All right. I am going to give an honorable mention to Nick Ross. And I'm going to leave that there because I think you might be talking about that in a bit because you teased it, but you haven't talked about it yet, which means it's coming still. So I'm going to give mine to Alec Pierce.
I like it.
I refer you back to, you can scroll all the way back. It's worth a watch, I believe. Liam's official apology to Alec Pierce for calling him out over the last 2 years. And
maybe our second best wide receiver this year.
I saw this. Okay. He was first in yardage on 69 catches. That is, and compare that to Pitt Pitt had the most catches on the team. And with 111.
Mm-hmm.
So 111 to 69, and the guy with less, which once
catches
again led the NFL in completion yards per catch in the entire NFL.
Yep.
Alec Pierce did. So we all doubted. Everybody doubted. I think the only person who said that they didn't doubt was probably him, but he wouldn't say that. Reggie Wayne. He's like, I told y'all whole time. Also, a couple shout outs here since I'm talking about receivers. Josh Downs broke the franchise record held by Marvin Harrison for most catches, I believe.
Most reception is first 2 seasons of franchise.
Yep. And Pitt, I believe, broke something as well, but I can't remember what it was now that it's escaping me.
I don't know.
Franchise record for him as well. You can go and look that up. You know, we like
AR had a franchise record as well.
Yes.
Most rushing yards and most rushing touchdowns.
And rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a single season. Yep. So, not bad considering he didn't play a few of those games, 4 of those games. So, and then I'm trying to think if there was anything else that I was forgetting. While we're talking about Pitt, Pitt had an official X-ray, hadn't done it yet, had an official X-ray on his back, and there was small fractures that he'd been dealing with. That's the pain he'd been dealing with all year.
Gotcha.
So we aren't going to do
way to fight through it.
Right. We're not going to do a tough man award because we know who that go to. Okay. Oh, your face said, nah, I'm not so sure. Fractured back. Okay. Who else would you say then while we're here?
AR.
Okay.
I get all the tap out and the injury and stuff like that. He's a quarterback that takes on the strongest hitting safety in the league and gets fined for it. That doesn't happen if you're not tough.
I hear you there. I got you. Okay. Moving along, we have a few more here. Offensive Player of the Year. Keep in mind, there still is the MVP award looming.
There is. I have 2 people in mind here.
Okay.
It's who do I want as the MVP out of these 2?
Mm-hmm. All right.
Offensive Player of the Year is going to go to Jonathan Taylor. Really picked it up in the last part of the season. He played okay in the middle part, played well in the first part, his best in the third part of the season. He didn't play well in all the parts, which is why I can't necessarily give him MVP, although I want to really, really bad.
Yeah.
I believe it was how many touchdowns was it? It was a 7 touchdowns, I believe, in the last 4 games. because he had 3 touchdowns.
And then 2.
Then he had 2. Then he had 1 and
One.
1, I think.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Yeah.
Wait, is that right? No. 3, 2, 1 is what it went because he didn't have 3 touchdowns in the Broncos game. It was the game after that.
Yeah.
So JT performed excellent. Got to the 1,000 mark. Got close. I believe he's top 10 in rushing. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
But JT performed excellent after going through a rough patch for a little bit.
Yeah. Fought through some injury around in there. I am also going to say Jonathan Taylor. Tied Eric Dickerson, I believe, second in rushing touchdowns in franchise history.
He'll get it next season.
He will definitely get second solely by himself by next season. Long way to go to get to Edge. Edge was just different and played at a different time, different NFL time, even with Peyton Manning.
Just while we're talking about Jonathan Taylor, during the broadcast of the Jaguars game, they were talking about all the great running backs that have played for Indy, and they're like obviously Edgerrin James, Dickerson, who are some others? They're Marshall
Lenny
Faulk
Moore back in the
Lenny Moore, Marshall Faulk, forget his name. Adai
Mitchell.
No. That's the wide receiver.
That's running back. Adai Mitchell.
Sorry.
No, you're right.
Joseph Adai.
Joseph Adai. Yep.
Yes.
That's the one. Yep.
A lot of Frank Gore played for a little bit here. And JT is among the top of those guys. Massive names. Yep. So huge shout out to JT, and he's still within his first 5 seasons, right? Is this his 5th?
This is 5th season. Yep. Contracted out for 2 more.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yep. All right. That's the offense. What about the other side of the ball? Defensive player of the year.
I have a lot of honorable mentions here. First one, Grove, because he was such a major factor for the run game.
Okay.
Jalen Jones, because he really stepped his game up, matched the top receivers in the league.
Yep.
And then my final honorable mention is Zaire Franklin, the tackle leader of the NFL. Officially got it this season.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Almost got it last season. Almost got it the season before that. Finally got it. Most tackles in the past 3 seasons combined. My defensive player of the year, I hinted to him, Nick Cross. 145 tackles. Not most out of a safety this year, because Budda Baker had a lot of tackles. Budda Baker was second.
Safety?
Budda Baker's a safety, yeah.
Okay.
He's second in the league for tackles, actually, Budda Baker is. So great for him. Nick Cross, though, played phenomenally. Had the stern talking to, and he played pretty much lights out after that. Also helps that he came up with interceptions and stuff like that. So Zaire also played really good coverage this year, which was unlike him. Both those guys played amazing, but I think I'm going to give it to Nick Cross. You have over 140 tackles as a safety, plus you're doing your job as a safety for interceptions and stuff like that. Great job.
Stole my thunder a little bit with the number 1 tackler officially in the NFL in 2024. The guy who talks too much. The guy who shakes hands with people who should have been in there. Zaire Franklin.
I like it.
As you mentioned, the most tackles of anyone in the NFL the past 3 years combined, set a franchise record last year in tackles. Couldn't top it this year, but topped himself for second from 2022. So he now has
The top 3
the
seasons. in
top
tackles.
3 in tackles franchise seasons in when you come
And he's a Pro Bowler.
and he is a Pro Bowler for the first time.
Definitely deserves it. Finally getting his recognition. Finally.
Yes. Yep. Defensive player of the year is Zaire Franklin. It has to
I
be.
like it.
It doesn't have to be, obviously. Your answer is valid. But there you go. That's it for me. So that leads us to the MVP, most valuable player. Last year, mine was Grove, even though he missed part of the year because that shown how much it was. Do you remember who yours was? Yours was
I believe it was Jonathan Taylor.
probably.
That sounds right. It may have been
Yep.
Zaire.
So who you got this year?
I have a feeling we put out the same person.
I think we do.
He didn't get my
together.
He didn't get my offensive. We'll go separate. I want to kind of explain some stuff first.
All right.
He didn't get my offensive player of the year because we said every single week the Colts move as he moves on offense.
That would pretty much define an MVP, wouldn't it?
Had the most receiving yards for the Colts this past week. Didn't get a touchdown, but he was still Josh first downs. Josh Downs finished off the season phenomenally. I don't see how he's not the MVP if he quite literally moves your offense. So,
yeah. Once again, I pick a player because mine is also Josh First Downs, who missed a portion of the season. Missed 2-3 games early on.
2-3. Yeah, I think he missed a portion of a game.
Yeah, I think he missed because he didn't go on IR at the beginning of the season, so he was eligible to come back. But he definitely missed those first 2, maybe the third, and then missed, I think, one other game, I believe. Can't remember what exactly it was: concussion, aggravated ankle, knee, hammy, something like that.
Something.
When he is on, the Colts are on.
Yep.
It's just as simple as that. There is no better definition of an MVP other than when they do well, your team does well, and when they don't do well, your team struggles. That's, you know, and what's funny is Flacco will get the credit for that win in Tennessee, but who deserves the credit is Josh Downs because he was the top target. Same thing with the Pittsburgh game that Flacco came into. Josh Downs bailed him out because he recognized you're open. I'm going to give you the ball.
And whenever Flacco didn't use Josh Downs,
he
lost.
Struggle. Yep.
Also, quick mention, shout out Isaiah. Once again, we shouted out a lot. He said at the beginning of the season, Josh Downs is the most important player on the offense, and it looks like he was right. So, great prediction from him.
Yep, well done. All right, last one then. Coach of the year. This is not a head coach. This is a coordinator of some kind.
It can be the head coach, right? You glitched out.
Didn't get you there.
Oh,
you glitched out. So
it can be head coach, right? Can be Shane if.
No.
Okay.
This is
we're not doing Shane. Okay.
No. I believe that's how we set it up this last year. That it's a coordinator. It's a not the head coach. It's something else.
Okay.
All right. So, who would you looking it up? I'm
trying to see. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
Mine remains the same.
Okay.
Mine is the exact same as last year, because if you can take the terrible performance of the offensive line in 2022, leave all the same guys, change it completely around in 23, and then still have success when you lose your right tackle for a decent portion of the season. You lose a left tackle for 2 games, I think. Ryman was out with concussion.
You lose your
You
center.
lose your center for a decent portion of the year, and you lose your right guard, who is in a contract year. Last year of his rookie contract, who had been coming on real strong, Will Fries. What was that? First game, second game of the season?
Something
Out,
like that. Yeah.
like injury season over. You have all of that to overcome, and still regarded as, we say, the best offensive line in the business.
Same
But
with AR.
At least top 5. Yes, they are proclaimed best offensive league line in the league.
Yep.
At least top 5 in the league, repeatedly, week in, week out, no matter the case, no matter who's in there. Tony Sperano Jr.
I like it.
Your coach?
See, I had one in mind, and then I was like, okay, wait, actually, I think I have an honorable mention, that being Reggie Wayne, wide receivers coach. I think he kind of turned Pierce around. He's giving advice to Mitchell. Mitchell's still young, but I saw improvement out of Mitchell over the season. He wasn't just giving up on plays. He wasn't just dropping the balls. But I'm going to give it to Brian Mason, special teams coordinator. Matt Gay started off the season weak. We were calling for Spencer Strader. I believe Brian Mason helped Matt Gay turn it around. I don't know if they have a specific kicking coach, but Brian Mason, the special teams guy, that's part of special teams.
Yep.
You got to find a way to figure it out. He figured it out. And if we had a special teams player of the year, Rigoberto Sanchez. Oh my goodness. Such a great punter. I'm so happy that he is on our team. He is definitely someone that you re-sign whenever the contracts come around. I think that's also a big part of Brian Mason. So congrats to Brian Mason.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I'm going to piggyback on that and say Anthony Gould coming on strong at the end of the season, finding the niche, finding the role, getting himself off the inactives and, in the game and coming up big. Even to the point where I was a little concerned for him. Some of the Jaguars punts he chose to run back. I was like, hey, okay, easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to get murdered.
Hey, yards is yards.
Yeah, that's right. Every little bit counts. Well, that's it for today. We will be back tomorrow with our final update from the South as we look around the league as the division as it closes up. And then we will have a special wild card weekend edition of the Unstable Pick 6, where we will take a look at those predictions, and then we will close out the week with a special to-be-revealed playoff game preview episode.
Yep, this is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.